Get out of there. You can't do it. How about a little better? So, that's the next one. But I think my mic's way over here. Yeah. So let's turn the music down. Maybe that'll help you guys hear me a little better. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it's because my mic is way over here, but my drawing pad's way over here. A little louder, but we can. Chill. I want to do these a little bit more often. There's some days where we don't have any fun. Okay, perfect. Because I did have maybe. Okay, I guess I do have to turn it down a bit. Okay, how about this? Is this a little better? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not you, Wild World. It's just the way I have my setup. I don't have a mic in, so my laptop is way the hell over here. So that's what it is. Yeah, how are you gents doing? Thank you. It's something I'm preparing for a buddy of mine. By the way, wow, bro, been loving the most recent videos, man. You've been uploading like crazy. Loving the videos. Additional kills. This is just an outline right now. I'm kind of getting an outline just so I can kind of see where I want to put all the sharks in. And put which sharks in these specific areas. Just an outline before I start going into some really deep details. This course is really making me work for it. If we start basic programming tomorrow, and the week after that we start Python. That's what I'm really concerned about. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I can at least get one more video out, because once we start Python, that's when I really go dark on everything. That's going to be the thing that is going to test me the most. What about you, Chin? Have you got anything going on? Yeah, definitely is to be expected. What I'm surprised you haven't done by this point, Wild, is a video on oarfish. Because they're coming up more and more, at least in my neck of the woods. A lot of folks talking about oarfish. A lot of them don't realize just how massive they actually get. Like, they get bigger than a lot of sharks, and they're about as close as we're going to get to an actual sea serpent. I've heard mixed things about the Minecraft video, and I agree. Oarfish could definitely make a really good How Big video. I know Calvin's finishing up his Mosasaur video, so I'm excited for that. I need to message him to let him know that if he needs any music, he can use mine. Oh, speaking of which, so this picture that I'm currently drawing involves this big shark in the middle involves a shark that a buddy of mine has drawn for this the hybrid war, I guess is what it's called. It's going on YouTube, where everyone's making a hybrid and trying to participate in some hybrid war. So a buddy of mine made a shark. It's basically a combination of a bunch of different sharks to take on, I guess, this hybrid made by Goji Guy. And so he asked me, as a fellow shark enthusiast, to draw his shark. I already drew one picture of it, and I'll actually pull it up. I did not check that video. That's something I need to do. I'm very behind on a lot of videos. This is the first picture I drew of him called Brody. This is the first picture I made of him. So he asked me to draw a second picture of him. And I'm happy to do so just because he's a good friend of mine. Let me see. And he may or may not join the game, just because I know some other folks have been asking about his hybrid and what his hybrid does. But this hybrid here is a combination of a bunch of different sharks, including a few prehistoric ones, like the Adestis and Protoxyrhina. Yes, he is a very chunky boy, but I believe he could explain it far better than I could. I'd have to go and get the full list. Let me see if I actually have the list on me. And let me pull up his concept since we're here. So here, ladies and gentlemen, is his version. This gentleman needs somebody who can actually draw sharks. I would admit, don't tell him this, but he could actually draw sharks better than I can. Don't tell him that, though. He may or may not be in the stream. Good guy, though. His name is Tattletera. Awesome guy. So this was my version of it. And now I'm drawing another one where he's going to be with a bunch of different sharks. So that's more so what I'm looking at the moment. I need to choose. But this is more so a good way to kind of change up things. That and I want to draw more, so. Okay, let's see. Okay. I might have to be a little bit of. That'll do. By the way, Wild World, how's the podcast going? And how's Mika doing? Yeah, there we go. Oh, really? A whole new time zone? Is she still in the States or did she go to somewhere else overseas? Mika is Wild World's co host on the Wild World podcast. Very nice lady. Very smart, too. Really? Way out to Hawaii? Wow. That's one place I haven't visited yet. I wouldn't mind visiting that at some point. I am curious. I wonder if the whole direwolf debate is still going on at the moment. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Time out. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to take a pause for a moment because a very special guest has decided to grace us with his presence. And let me see if I can't pull it in here. Oops. You're a celebrity in my eyes, title. I want to see if I can pull you in. Yes, I didn't think they would be that heated, Wild World, but I am very surprised. I get where folks are coming from, but my whole thing with the direwolf thing is we can copy genomes as much as we want, but what's I want to make sure I word this right. How do we know that we got everything correct? And things being slightly modified or being said within the proper context isn't usually what folks pay attention to. They just look for, oh, here's the newest headline. Hey, look, they made the diary when folks don't often give it the proper context. Like, actually, we just kind of modified something to see if it could be done. But my biggest concern is what's the next step? Because now that they've done this, I doubt they're going to stop. Because now they're going to go, what can we try next? And that's a bit concerning to me. And also, let me see. Uh-huh. Okay. Mic check, mic check. Hello. Title, you were speaking. I cannot hear you at the moment. One, two, 1, 2. I still cannot hear you. I heard static. I heard static again. I heard something.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Now
Oh,
I
can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Sweet. What's up, guys?
Yes. Wow, I think Wow, you might be using the name here, but this is a good buddy of mine by the name of Tidal Terror. He is responsible. He is responsible for this beauty right here, by the name of Brody.
That's my Brody.
And instead of me butchering it, Tidal, why don't you explain to everyone what your hybrid is made of?
Oh yeah, so let me just pull up the sheet really quick. So to list off his genome, we've got, where's it hiding? So Brody is a hybrid of, he kind of takes DNA from the great white shark, tiger shark, bull shark, salmon shark, epaulet shark, spiny dogfish, Pacific sleeper shark, broadtooth mako, the Atlantic torpedo ray, Atlantic sturgeon, and the giant snakehead. So almost completely sharks, save for like the 3 other non-sharks. But
so I gotta ask, where's the Greenland shark on?
So the Greenland shark is actually kind of interesting. It's not Greenland shark. It's its relative, the Pacific sleeper, which is only a genetically different species. Honestly, the only real difference between them is a bit of genetics, location, and like a bit of behavior. But behaviorally, they're almost the same animal. But the thing the sleeper shark has that I thought would be awesome to put into Brody is the ability to basically survive in sub-zero temperatures and crushing depths. So Greenland sharks and sleeper sharks have certain, what was it? I believe they have a certain chemical in their blood that combines with the high levels of urea in their blood to basically form an antifreeze agent in their blood so that it doesn't freeze in their veins if they're in sub-zero temperatures, which is insane.
Okay, I'll be honest, I actually didn't know that little piece there.
Yep. Yeah, and they're also with the number of like ridiculous chemicals in their blood, it makes them very, very toxic to eat unless like you prep them for like I don't know if you guys have heard of the Icelandic dish where they just take Greenland shark flesh, and since it's so toxic, they have to ferment it underground for like 9 months for it to even be remotely edible. And even then, it's described as the worst tasting food on the planet. It is so bad. So, I mean, I kind of thought that might be interesting for, like, let's say another hybrid fighting Brody takes a bite. That's not going to be the most appetizing bite.
I never thought about that.
Yep.
Interesting. No, that's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, Brody takes, obviously, from his appearance, he takes a lot from the Great White, just build-wise. The Great White and the salmon sharks and the broadtooth mako all kind of work together to make up the main part of his build. The broadtooth mako is actually an extinct species, so it's like the only extinct animal that makes up his genome, Jurassic Park style. And that guy I mostly use for the size. Nothing else in his genome gets as big as he does, so I figured throw something in there to make him a little bigger than his primary target, Vex.
So what's funny about that is a lot of folks don't know is the broadtooth mako is actually the great grandpappy of the great white and the mako. The great white didn't because some people still get this wrong. They think great white came from Megalodon. It didn't. Megalodon is an extinct genus. It actually came from the Mako. That's what a lot of folks don't actually know. So that ties even more into what your hybrid is made out of.
Yep. So he's got a little bit of all sorts of little sharks in his blood. One of the interesting ones is the epaulet shark. Actually, you looking at him, you wouldn't think this guy has epaulet in him, but the epaulet DNA I added to not only give him a little bit more mobility in his pectoral fins for like moving around in shallower waters, even like even having a little more mobility if he gets beached. Nothing where he can like cross over like onto land and start terrorizing people, but if he gets stuck up there, he has a little bit more mobility. But also it gives him the spiracles behind his eyes. So in a lot of sharks, they have those tiny pores, and that basically acts as a second breathing hole in bottom feeding sharks. So while water goes through the mouth and out the gills for all sharks, if you're sitting at the seafloor and gulping in water, you're gonna get a lot of sand, and that is not very optimal when it's going through your gills. So they have that second opening to suck water in from the top and filter it through the gills, so they don't get so much sand.
That makes
sense.
And
I thought that would be crazy because that also gives Brody the ability to hold still and keep breathing, unlike most sharks of his type. So he can switch from being a ram ventilator, which is what a great white is, where they have to keep moving to breathe, to being a buccal pumper, which is how a lot of sharks will stay still and breathe on the seafloor.
Very interesting. And so, funny thing you mentioned that. I've actually seen a clip where this guy actually had a young great white, like it was kind of caught on the side, and the young great white was actually breathing in water. But now, mind you, it's not as optimized as something like maybe a lemon shark,
yeah,
white tip reef shark, or something like that. But they're still able to do it, but it's not optimal.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of like young sharks, especially when they're still like figuring out how to be a shark, I'm sure they're really adept at like doing that sort of thing where they can just adapt to certain behaviors. Maybe not as good as another shark would be. Like just the motion of opening their mouth, I'm sure they'd learn to realize that creates a little bit of a vacuum. And that vacuum pushes water past their gills. Not as good as swimming forward does, but good enough that it probably puts off suffocation a little longer. But no, that's really interesting.
It is.
I've not seen that.
Now, bit of a sidebar, well, I guess a bit of a sidestep on this. With your being a hybrid, Wild World and I, we were just talking about the conversation about the direwolf whole controversy, right?
Oh, geez.
Now, so would you argue that what the scientists have made isn't exactly a direwolf, but I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah. I would say this thing is about as close to a direwolf is as a red-tailed shark in your fish tank is to a great white. That is not a direwolf that they made.
We're of the same opinion.
Yes. Yep. Seen too many people online saying direwolves are back. No, they're not. I hate to break it to you, but I don't think they will ever be back in the sense that they were before.
Well, I think it's, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Unfortunately, a lot of younger people aren't taught basic fundamentals of evolution and how genomes work, because ultimately, what is the point of evolution? Like, if we had to sum it up in one phrase, what's the point of evolution? It's to solve problems, right? Why does a giraffe, why did it evolve a long neck? To get to the vegetation at the top of trees. That's a problem evolution solved. And so us just taking a bunch of genomes and shoving them into something else that may be related to it isn't ultimately going to what's the way
Right.
because I don't want to
Yeah.
I want to choose my words wisely here. It's point is they're not direwolves. And it's
Right.
mainly because we don't know everything about what a direwolf is. We know a lot about them, but it's the same thing. It's like, do we know everything about T-Rex? No, we know a lot. But if we said, hey, we brought back a T-Rex, things about dinosaurs are changing every year. So
Yep.
what if we discover something new about direwolves next year that it's like, okay, this changes the spectrum of how direwolves are supposed to be.
Yeah. Dire wolves were all like so genetically different from a gray wolf that they used to make the dire wolves. I remember reading somewhere that the closest link in like relation they have is long extinct and didn't really resemble either of them very closely. So they weren't really related much at all.
Well, and even more to that point, the thing I just brought up with Wild World is now because right now they're just celebrating they have the whole neuron activation. Hey, we quote unquote brought back direwolves. They didn't, but that's besides the point. What are they going to try next? Mammoths are early on the table because they're going to try to do that.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, no, that's a that's a scary thing to think about too.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly
I
the
don't-
wild point. He said, like, if we edited the lion's genome to give him longer calyx and said it's a Smilodon, Smilodon is back. No, it's not. We just slightly altered their genes. But yeah, again, it's still my bigger concern is what are they going to try next? Because at some point dinosaurs are going to be on the table.
Yep. Yeah, I thought it was really funny how they were all, we're bringing back mammoths. We've made woolly mice. They're so cute. And then out of nowhere, they just jump scare us by bringing back a carnivore. Like, they didn't leak any of that. To my knowledge, I never heard about them bringing back direwolves until they brought back direwolves.
We have another
But-
Jurassic World movie coming out in July, and nobody sees the irony.
I know.
There's really an
Yep.
entire movie franchise as to the dangers about this, which is ultimately like we don't know.
Yep. I think the funny thing is, like, even in the Jurassic franchise, they're very clear that there is not a single true dinosaur in the entire franchise because they're all reconstructed with frog DNA and all sorts of other animals and only like fragmentally dinosaur DNA. So there are no real dinosaurs. And I think it's so funny that the most Jurassic Park thing in human history has just happened and nobody realizes it's just Jurassic Park.
Exactly. Or even to even kind of drive the point home even further. Let's say, hey, we brought Spinosaurus back, but they based it off the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3. And now we look at what we know about Spinosaurus now. Now we got to look back at that. It's like, okay, did you actually bring back Spinosaurus?
Yeah.
Did you make some freak of nature with genomes that evolution can't really sort out? And that's kind of ultimately what my point is about this whole thing about direwolves. Like, we don't know. They didn't make direwolves, they made something else. And that's a slippery slope. What do you
Yeah.
It's you spend so much time wondering if you could, you never stop to ask if you should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was I wanted to definitely like get your thoughts on that since we're talking about hybrids.
Right. Right.
And good old Brody's just sitting here listening to us, looking at us like, what
I saw you were working on the drawing of him.
yes.
Oops. I didn't look too close at that. Dang.
So I'm getting the
That's
rough
awesome.
outline right now. I may add one more shark. So I've got, obviously this is going to be Brody here.
Mhm.
Teeth, it might be. I need to make him actually a little smaller because Teeth is about 8 feet long.
Yeah. In this
Teeth,
picture, he's
like,
looking about like average great white size.
yeah, Teeth needs to be like from like here to here compared to him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna have
Brody is about what I say. I think 25, 26 feet long.
yes, I believe.
So he's a big fella.
Yeah, and this one we had him at 25 feet long in this picture.
Yep.
I need to make Teeth just a little bit smaller.
25 feet in length and 3 tons.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I need to make if I want to add a third species of shark. Because I'm gonna have the black tips, I'm gonna have Brody, I'm gonna have Teeth. I'm wondering if I should have like scalloped hammerheads somewhere. Maybe just a bunch of shark shadows in the back.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Okay, cool. And also Shark 365. This is Tidal Terror. He's another fellow shark artist like myself. And Loki, he can draw sharks better than I can. Don't tell him.
Oh no. Nah, man. I remember long before me and Taz were buddies. I remember I've always been a shark guy, and being a shark guy, you go on the internet, you look at cool shark pictures. And I remember seeing some of his, and I was like, dude, this guy's crazy. Like, what was it? Some of the older stuff you did, the
my deviant
back in the.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Actually, some of my older ones. Actually, I don't know if I can actually pull them up here. Let me see.
Was it the hammerhead you did?
I'm actually, so a lot of my older ones, I'm actually gonna go back and be redesigning a lot of them because
that's sick. I remember the Thresher you had with the tail that could like disconnect. It reminded me of the weapon in Pacific Rim, the sword thing that comes out of one of the Jaeger's arms, and it acts like a whip, but then it can reassemble into a sword. I thought that was awesome.
Yes, her name, actually, I can pull her up. Her name is Minari, and she kind of has these like muscled ligaments that allow her to stretch her tail out. Let me do this. If it actually is able to pull up. There we go.
Yes! Minari, I do remember.
Yeah, I want to redesign. Actually, she's pretty good. I don't think I need to redesign her, but some of the other ones I want to add a little bit more flair to them. But
yeah,
I don't want to just make a shark look cool for the sake of it looking cool. I want to make an animal that it can actually exist in an environment. That's why I like stuff like from Monster Hunter so much, because they don't just make big monster for the sake of making big monster. They make an environment, and then they decide what animal can develop an ecological niche inside the environment.
Yep.
And that's absolutely why I love Monster Hunter so much, because they actually make animals. They don't just make monsters contrary to the actual name. They make animals with ecological niches.
Yep.
But yeah, I at least wanted to bring you on for a bit, introduce you to everybody, let everybody know. Yeah. Don't you have that video of Brody being worked on?
I do. I've been throwing things together for it. It's kind of gone on the back burner for a moment, but once I'm done working on a few other things, I'm going right back to it. Should get back to it in like a few days, but I was able to put it off because it seems like Goji Guy actually is also taking a little hybrid hiatus, if that makes sense, to work on other projects he's been working on.
I guess that gives you more time.
But yeah, no, for sure. And I've got a little lineup of artists still working on their Brody pieces. This one, for example, I'm very stoked, very excited for this. This is gonna be sick. But
Yeah. Go ahead and share your screen.
yeah,
I'll see if I can show it on screen really quick.
what's that?
I was gonna say, if you want, you can. I can see if I can show it on screen here if you share it.
Oh, the other art.
Yeah, and also,
Let's see.
oh, see, look at that! Wild World, you beat me to it. I'm gonna plug your channel to it here.
Oh,
So right there in the chat below, I just put it in the chat. Hopefully, you guys can see it. That's Title's channel. I don't
That's
think you
me.
put it in, but that's where the video.
Nope.
Definitely gonna cheat and give you a shout out there.
Yeah, starting from ground zero. No videos here. I do have 270 subscribers already, which is baffling to me. I think that's probably back when I used to make comments on videos and people thought I was pretty funny or something, or interesting enough to follow me off a comment. I mean, I don't know. That was a long while ago, though.
Hey,
It'll be really funny.
hey, Wild. On Instagram, I sent you Title's Instagram page. His page is actually way bigger than mine. Funny enough.
Oh yeah, I do post a little bit on there. I haven't, not remotely enough as I should, but Brody went up there a little bit ago. I got some of my favorites.
Your
up on
artists. And
but
talking about me drawing mad, so you draw some really mad stuff. I mean, I mean that in the best way possible, but not kind of.
Yeah.
You, Shark, and Wild World. I just sent you his stuff on Instagram if you want to see more of his drawings. Absolute mad lad here.
Yeah, I don't post as often as I should, but I think once I get the Brody vid up, work on a few things, I'll try and start posting a little more often. Maybe start streaming on Twitch or something. I might start doing something like that. I don't know. But
I sent it to you as well, Shark365. I sent you his stuff as well. Any luck on your end with sharing things?
What's that?
I was gonna say I didn't know if you were gonna share your thing on the screen,
Oh, let me see.
or at least if you had anything to share. If you didn't, no big deal.
I suppose I could share. Where is it? Where is it? My other drawing of Brody.
Ooh, there's another one. Wait, this is the one you sent me on Discord?
Yes, yeah, this one
Okay,
here of him going after Vex.
Yeah, definitely show that one. That one is awesome.
One of Brody's action shots there. Let me see.
If not, I think I might be able to pull it up. Okay, so there it is. Let me save it.
All right, I think I got it here. Is this going through?
Oh, here we go. Let me add it to the stage. There we go.
Yes.
So here's another shot for everyone. Are you guys able to see this? This is another shot of Brody going after Vex with one of the top. That is the hybrid made by Goji, and I made a whole video on it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of both got a bit of a personal vendetta because apparently Vex's whole purpose is to go about sharks, and we were just like, oh, that's how we're playing. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's why Brody got let loose. In Vex's release video, Goji Guy said that since there were no other hybrids to fight in the ocean, she's going after sharks. And Brody's like, I don't think so. So
the ocean needs sharks, and we're like, yeah, that's not gonna fly.
Yep. Vex is she's really interesting. She's got a different genome. There's only 2 fish in her genome. The rest of them are mammals and reptiles. Let me see if I can't find.
I know one of them is the barracuda.
Yes. She has. Oh, come on. Had it here somewhere. Vex's genome is killer whale, Tylosaurus, saltwater crocodile, barracuda, beluga whale, and the glassfish. She's got a really cool design to her.
And the glassfish is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Cool animal.
Some cool animals. Something in my video I'm gonna address before releasing the wrath of Brody upon her is just touching on why some of her biology doesn't really make sense in terms of like, I mean, none of these guys really make 100% sense. They're like fictional.
We were just talking
They're
about
like,
that, right?
they're going off of kind of Jurassic Park logic. Like they're bringing back extinct animals, making hybrids. Like, but things like the fins being transparent, that's where the glassfish comes in her genome, and transparent fins are not going to be at all powerful enough to sustain an animal like this in the kind of niche that she's supposed to fill. She's said to be able to hit, and I kid you not, 50 miles per hour in a like dead run, like top speed. But nothing about her anatomy really adds up to that.
Yeah. Now, mind you, she has a torpedo shape, but I mean, 50 miles an hour, like, you have to be purely and strictly optimized for speed to hit that.
Yep. That's like top Mako speed. You're not going to get that speed with an animal like this. Her weight is all wrong. I think Goji Guy kind of prides himself on how light she is built. But after looking at her, she is not light at all. She's going to weigh like a little over the average killer whale weight. And her bones need to be super dense to support like ramming, which is something that she does. And to support her body weight on land, which is another thing she does. She can like crocodile around and move around kind of avidly on land. Nothing extreme, but he says she can like move from one body of water to another if they're close enough. But with fins like that, I don't know how you're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's the thing about hybrids. Well, a lot of folks make things more complicated than they need. And it goes back to my point of, hey, if you're gonna make an animal, like, don't worry about making the animal first. Decide on what environment it lives in. Then decide what ecological niche does this animal have. Because that's gonna decide its evolution. Like, you're not going to design an animal that can run really fast that lives in a dense forest. Like, evolutionary speaking, that doesn't make sense. Why is it supposed to run super, super fast if it's in a dense forest? And that's one thing. Like you were showing me the list of all the other folks who like submitted their hybrids, and they were like all these animals that were like 60, 70, 100
Yeah.
feet long, and all of them would die within a week because they don't have an ecological niche.
Yep.
Bigger isn't
Yep.
always better. Like I'm
Yeah,
surprised
I've seen
everybody
too
loves
many.
everybody learned that lesson.
Right. I've seen too many really neat looking hybrids suffer the fate of being humongified by their creators. Like, I saw one that was a really neat looking shark one, but they had a megalodon and leviathan. They always seem to go for the big guys. They'll be like, mine has megalodon and leviathan DNA and mosasaurus. Like,
It was like that thing's
Going-
gonna starve
yeah.
in days.
blue whale with megalodon teeth and Dunkleosteus bite force. Also combining animals with like features from animals that are very different. Putting shark teeth in a Dunkleosteus jaw is not optimal. Those are two completely different types of bites, and those teeth are not going to last that sort of thing. But,
Yeah, so that goes back to my point of a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't given a lot of information on how evolution works and how everything you see in an animal and what environment it lives in, it gained all of those abilities and adaptations purposefully. Like,
Yep.
it's by design. The lions have the teeth they have and the adaptations that we have by design over millions upon millions of years of evolution because of a problem evolution is trying to solve. That's what a lot of people don't get about whenever they make an animal. Design the environment it lives in, because then you get to decide what herbivores are going to live in there, which is funny enough is even harder than a carnivore, making a herbivore to live in an environment. And then once you've decided that, okay, what carnivore is going to try to go after those herbivores and what tools does it have to do that? T-Rex had such a strong bite because it lived with Triceratops and then Kylosaurus that had Brontosaurus, which people don't understand how much of a beefcake that Brontosaurus was.
Yeah, those things were no joke.
But T-Rex developed the way it did because of its environment, not because, oh, let's make super big Giga Chad carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's the whole thing about hybrids, and it's why I can pretty sure is because you stuck with mostly sharks, and whatever is in a shark is a fish. So all the genomes relatively line up. And you have equal size.
Yep.
It doesn't need to be the biggest to work.
Mm-hmm.
My thing's 100 feet long, and it's not going to be able to catch Brody because Brody's just going to swim under and it can't do anything.
Yep. One of the fights against Vex that has happened was there was a whale hybrid. It had Leviathan, sperm whale. What else? I had a few whales, and it had porcupine fish, and lionfish, and a few others. But it was basically a giant, prickly, venomous, and also poisonous whale. It looked really cool, but something that size is going to demand so much food to sustain itself, and the drain of like generating not one but multiple different kinds of venom from the lionfish and the porcupine fish, that's going to be very taxing.
Again, to my point, a lot of people don't know that it costs energy and calories to make both venom and poison. That's not something that's just there for free. The body has to produce that. That costs energy.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for it to be any meaningful amount of an animal of that size, again, it's going to starve in a couple days.
Yep. But yeah, that fight ended just about as you'd expect it to. Vex clobbered that poor whale. From the artist who made the whale, I saw their reconstructing a new hybrid in the wake of their hybrid's death. They're a really talented artist. They're really good. It was a really neat hybrid. Just realistically, it didn't really stand a chance. But I'm kind of very confident in that Brody is going to annihilate Vex, like with very, very little difficulty. He's much faster than her, much lighter, even while being bigger. The cartilaginous skeleton really takes a few pounds off of a bony skeleton, and whatever, even by like whatever fantastical law is giving Vex the ability to move 50 miles per hour, if that's in action in whatever universe this fight's taking place, then Brody's easily hitting like 55, 60 miles per hour at least. Like, his body is so much more designed to move at speeds like that. Something a lot of us in the community have kind of noted is that Vex kind of can't move that fast realistically, like over 30 miles per hour maybe. Generously, I'd give her in a real situation because of cavitation bubbles. Now, cavitation bubbles are kind of the bane of a lot of like marine mammals and other sea creatures that want to move faster, but they can't really because of these bubbles. When an object moves at like past a certain speed, about like 30 miles per hour in the water, tiny bubbles form because of the pressure difference right where the motion is being made. Like if you look at boat propellers, you see all those bubbles coming off because the propeller's going so fast that it's creating a vacuum. And as soon as that vacuum is returned back to normal pressure, so like as soon as whatever is moving fast enough moves out of the way, the bubbles will contract on themselves and create a rebalance in the pressure, and that creates a tiny explosion. So hundreds and thousands of these tiny explosions forming at the base of all the fins, at the base of the tail, that's what's going to take down Vex, because those hurt. That is the number one reason a bottlenose dolphin, for example, can't move past like, what was it? I think it was 25, 30 miles per hour, is because those bubbles form and it injures the dolphin, so they can't move at their like whatever top speed a dolphin could potentially move if there were bubbles.
Exactly.
Which is a really interesting thing. But sharks have dermal denticles. They have teeth on their skin that protect them from the explosive bubbles, which is why you'll see like a short from Mako leap out of the water at like 50 miles per hour with breaking a sweat. I think I'd probably break a sweat at that speed if I were a Mako, but probably without the injury of cavitation bubbles. So Brody can hit speeds that Vex can't because of bubbles. But
evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, something as small as that, cavitation bubbles, is stuff people don't take into consideration. Whereas, like, again, let's go back to the direwolf conversation. There's so many little things about it about direwolves that we don't know about or take into consideration, that what we think a direwolf looks like is probably fast and what an actual direwolf.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Nick Sharky. Shark. I'll be honest, I don't get it.
What? No, sorry, I can hardly hear you.
No, in the comments he was asking about a joke about a shark. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the joke. I'm not.
Oh,
So I'm not up on the latest joke. Yes, short flamingos, that moves they really get faster, sure, but a lot of people overestimate. An animal only
Yeah.
needs to be as fast as it needs to. It only needs to be fast enough to catch its prey,
Mhm.
and not a mile
Well,
fast.
A lot of people say that Makos can hit 50 because there's, I mean, not as not as consistently as 46 miles per hour, but I believe there were some that were clocked at 50, and I think the reliable one is 46, like 46 miles per hour, but there's a lot of, it's easier to say 50 when you're talking about like general top speeds. But yeah, the most reliable is, I believe, 46.
Okay, yeah.
And then you'll get people saying that salmon sharks are faster when that's not really reliable at all. I think they've been clocked at 50, but I don't think it was reliable. I think it was what was it? A Navy vessel clocked one, and I think there were a lot of issues with how it did it, but yeah, I don't remember that whole situation.
Yeah, I get it.
And then while we're talking about hybrids, there's another hybrid I really want to like shamelessly plug really quick. Let me
Uh-oh.
see if I can put him up. This is the hybrid of, oh, where is it? A buddy of mine.
This is the one you showed me? Yep, there he is.
Yep. This is Raptus, and he is a hybrid that I have helped a buddy of mine throw together. His name is Mako. He's not really. I can find his Instagram if I can track it down, but no, he's really talented. This guy is built for speed.
I couldn't tell.
He takes the genome of, where is the list here? Some of the fastest fish. He takes the DNA of the Edestis, shortfin mako, Indo-Pacific sailfish, Cratoxyrhina, reef stonefish, and big eye pressure shark.
I'm assuming Cratoxyrhina gives it the size.
Yeah, I believe it gives it a little bit of size, and I think a lot of his brain is most similar to Cratoxyrhina in the sense that he'll go after prey a little larger than himself. Like Cratoxyrhina is pretty popular for its tendency to go after entire mosasaurs. Nothing too huge. They wouldn't go after a mosasaurus alone, but
Cratoxyrhina was a meathead.
yeah, yep, they were seriously one of the most ferocious sharks out there. I believe one of their favorite foods was baby mosasaurs, and I don't know how much evidence there is toward it, but I believe there were some theories that they'd like wait around a pregnant mosasaur and wait until it gave birth and pick those off after the mother left, which, I mean, is a behavior you see in a lot of animals today, just waiting to pick off their young. But
I'm curious as to how they actually figured that out.
I know. Yep.
Because that's is there fossil evidence behind that?
I don't remember. I believe they found mosasaur fossils with bites and like near where they would coexist.
Oh, I see.
But he's also got the jaws of the Edestis, which is a prehistoric quote unquote shark. It was Eugenodont, which is the same group as the Helicoprion, which is their more popular cousin, the world tooth shark. but not really sharks, more relatives. I think they were closer to ratfishes, chimeras, but honorary sharks because they basically took the entire look of a shark. But he's got the scissor teeth that they had. His main means of attacking is by rushing in and using that scissor jaw to go after vulnerable spots like the base of the tail or soft underbelly, extremities. That way, you take out the tail. I mean, what's it gonna do? Wiggle around? It can't swim away anymore.
Exactly. I got something to send you later on, or it'll probably actually be over the weekend. But remind me to send you something regarding Adestus.
I'm stoked. But yeah, this guy's another contender in the hybrid war.
Very nice. Very nice. Let me see. I am going to plug your channel one more time because I gotta get ready to close up the stream for the night. I just wanted to test to see if everything's still working. I gotta get ready to take myself to bed because I gotta get up in the morning super early.
Gotcha.
Yeah, at least wanted to bring you on just to let you, plug yourself, show off Brody.
Yep.
But hey, I appreciate you taking the time to at least show up a bit.
Oh heck yeah, this was fun.
Absolutely. Hopefully I can do these a bit later on. Or do more of these a bit later on. But yeah, it was a pleasure having you along.
It was a pleasure being on. It was nice talking to you all.
Yeah, again, this is titled Terror. Definitely give him a look on YouTube, and you can also find him on Instagram. An absolute mad lad as far as drawing sharks goes. This will probably be the end of me for the night as well. Hopefully I can do more of these because I'm trying to do more drawing now that I'm getting a little bit more time. I say that as I'm gonna have less time next few weeks, but still, hopefully this becomes more of a habit.
Yeah, if you ever want to have me back on, I'd be more than happy to.
Absolutely, this was indeed fun. We still got to make Brody's theme one of these nights.
We do. That'd be really neat. All right, I think I'm gonna head out.
All right, appreciate your
time. You guys
have
a great night or day or wherever you guys are at.
Well, you guys have a good one. Appreciate y'all stopping by.
Bye-bye, guys.